ดำรำไรการประเทศอาเซียนบานเชิญโยรุมตลอดประชุมวิ่งคือหาการประชุมมันจำห่อเจียรีทรีตบานประเภทซาตะลือปรับโดยบอลปีสปีการในดมบอลหนึ่งอันตรจิตให้หนึ่งการวิวัฒน์ตะลือดิวซีบรรดาเทียดรำรายการดูเส้นตัวบานชุมประชุมในปิงอ่องดำไปบัดสมัยประชุมเลือกที่สายสปรัมในการประชุมรำรายการประเทศอาเซียนนี้ในขนมจุ่มนูบมันจำฮอนี้รำรายการประเทศอาเซียนบานปรับโดยบอลปีสเพียบการในประเทศซีเรียให้หนึ่งสเพียบการในอุปัตปิกเรย์ให้หนึ่งสมุทรเชิงขังทบงพร้อมแทงการวิวัฒน์ไม่ทำไมในประเทศเมียนมาให้นำปัญหาเป็นสิ่งที่บัดโดยไล่จำสมเจียทางโดยขนมสเปียกาในประเทศซีเรียนี้คือรอบไรการเรียนจำนวนบานเป็นภาษาทาจองคืนการบรรจบจำลวงในประเทศนู้นให้นั่งจับตำนาการในตำนาการอยู่บ่ายเรียนในสเปียกาในอุปัตปิกเรวิ้งคือจองคืนการประชุมลางวิ้งในcáchประชุมเพียกีดังประมวยให้เชื่อภาษาทิศนังการจำนวนเธอจะไม่เอาอุปัตปิกเรนี้คือที่ตำบลได้ขมิ้นอาวุธนิวเคลียร์หลายทิศคือแต่ตัวหนึ่งสมบัติจันทร์บงคือมีการปรับโดปีสเปียกาทำไมนี้ให้การไปพิจารณามีการปรับไปเรียนมูลจำนวนปัญหาเหล่านี้คือรำรายการประเทศอาเซียนนี่มันบานสำหรับเช่นในไอกษายังหาทาไอกษาแสดงการรวมนิติแต่ซายังในการก็ในบรรดาการจอจาติดบ้าน Following lunch, the ASEAN foreign minister had their retreat, and of course there was an extended retreat, followed by the concluding session of the 45th AMM. During the retreat, the ASEAN foreign minister had exchange of views on regional and international issues, and also the current development in with regard to the DOC. Of course, also on the situation in Syria, Korean Peninsula, South China Sea, among others. Also, they discussed in the concluding session on the appointment of the new Secretary General ASEAN that who will succeed His Excellency Dr. Surin Pitsuwan, the current Secretary General ASEAN, who will complete his mandate by December 31st, and the new Secretary General will take over as January 1st next year. The candidate, of course, is from Vietnam. The foreign minister agreed to recommend the new Secretary General, Excellency Le Luc Minh, who is currently the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam, to be the new SG. This will be recommended to the ASEAN leaders for the decision of ASEAN leaders at the 21st Summit in November. That's all I have. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Virawan from Asahi Shimbun. Thank you for sharing with us today. Could you please update implement of the DOC and also the South China Sea issue, sir?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear clearly. Can you repeat again?
My name is Virawan. Could you please update about the implementation of the DOC today?
Yes.
And also the South China Sea issue, sir. Thank you so much.
I can update you on the current progress that has been made with regard to the DOC. You know very well, since the adoption of the guidelines of the DOC in Bali in July last year, the working group had already convened 7 meetings and had completed their draft on the key elements for the code of conduct, which the minister had adopted already. Also, prior to that, just late last month, the ASEAN-China senior officials met, what we call the ASEAN-China senior official on DOC met, and they agreed to convene the first informal consultations, which took place just on July 8, yes, just yesterday. And at the first meeting that they agreed to work on the COC, and the ASEAN foreign minister agreed to have the ASEAN senior officials meet with the senior official from China to discuss the COC from now on. At the same time, they also encourage both ASEAN and China to undertake the agreed joint activities that they have agreed already since December last year. There are 5 common projects, joint projects that they would need to undertake. Because this year, as you know, is the 10th anniversary of the DOC, and that's why it's important that both sides, ASEAN and China, will have to undertake those activities. At the same time, they agree that they will implement the DOC in full. All right, that's basically the updates on the DOC and COC.
Again, sir, why is meeting quite late this time? Is there any controversial among the ASEAN member country?
Well, actually, every year in the issue of the joint communique, there's always there's a lot of issues that need to be included in the joint communique, but certainly the discussions have been on various issues, including the South China Sea. And of course, we have to find the right languages for the various issues to be included in the joint communique, and that's why the ASEAN member states will continue to work on various issues so they can finalize in the next, hopefully by tomorrow or the day after. But the idea, of course, is that ASEAN will have to continue to consult each other and to meet and finalize some of the issues. Yeah. So maybe other people can take up the questions. Yeah, if there's no, yes.
China call from news. Why Chinese remedy of the ASEAN protocol nuclear weapon free zone cancelled?
Well, the protocol was supposed to be signed on July 12th, not this afternoon. But the statement was planned for this afternoon. But as I already briefed you and members of media yesterday and earlier today, that because the statement and the MOU and the protocol, they are related to the Southeast Asian Nuclear Weapon Free Zone Treaty. So since ASEAN receiving the text of reservation only last minute, and they need more time for consultations and also to clear those texts, and that's why all the signing, the 3 documents will have to be postponed for now. Yes.
You said that there will be more discussion about COC, so maybe it will be tomorrow or the day after.
No, I'm not saying COC, I'm just saying that the COC, of course, will be discussed by the senior officials from both ASEAN and China, as they already met yesterday, but of course the meeting will continue on later on, and Cambodia will convene the next meeting as the chair had informed the ASEAN foreign minister, so Cambodia will convene the next also the ASEAN-China summit on the COC. But the date has not been fixed yet.
Okay. I wonder, last year at the ASEAN summit in Bali in November last year, I feel there was a strong determination that ASEAN would go ahead with the crafting the COC, and then we will show it to China. Then China, they have no way to do rather than joining the COC. But this year, under Cambodia chairmanship, the drafting of the COC, well, now we are just going to have the consultation, informal consultation with China on how to proceed with drafting the COC or building the COC. Is this drawback?
No, this is not a correct understanding. The ASEAN member states had agreed since last year that they would meet at the working group level to draft the key elements of the COC. And since November last year, as I just had informed you, the working group had met 7 times, and they had concluded the drafting of the key elements of the COC, which was submitted to some endorsed it and submitted to the foreign minister. And the foreign minister this afternoon, they met and they adopted the key elements of the COC, only among ASEAN member states. And of course, also the ASEAN foreign minister, as I said, that had also agreed to have ASEAN-China some on the COC, so they can now start to meet to work on the joint COC. So this is something that we have to work with China, because the DOC is a document concerning 11 parties, not just ASEAN, it's between ASEAN and China. And that's why they have to work together. Yes, this is the correct version of the DOC. It's not, DOC is not just ASEAN, it's ASEAN and China. That's why we have 10 from ASEAN plus China. So right now what we have done, of course, agree on the key elements among ASEAN only. And from now on, they have to start discussing this with China. So with that, thank you very much. Yes.